Let's take a look at improving the results of hatch patterns on your 2D projected sections and elevations in AutoCAD Architecture. What I'm going to do now is create a new construct. So I'll right-click in my project navigator and create a new construct that I will assign to the first floor. And I will go ahead and I will call it first floor slabs. All right, in this file, I'll go ahead and bring in the foundation that I've already created. I'll just drag that in here. So I've created two foundation setups, standard perimeter footings, and I will now draw two slabs. These are 20-foot by 20-foot squares. So I'll go ahead and go to Archidyme's custom tool palette for floor slabs, and I'll just go ahead and pick the first, we have a first floor wood finishes category here. I'll go ahead and just pick the very first one, and I will start in the lower left corner and just go ahead and come up here and snap to the outside edge of the concrete stem wall. And I'll do an OR to complete that. For the other one, I'll go ahead and pick the next one down just to make it a little bit different. And I'll start here and come over. And I go ahead and type in OR again. Okay, so I've created two separate floors, two different directions. Those are my slabs now. So go ahead and I'll save those slabs. I'll go back to the project navigator here in my folder and go ahead and create the next construct, which would be something like first floor walls. And I'll assign that to my first floor level and hit OK. And then I'll go ahead and drag the first floor slabs into this floor so I know where to draw the walls. Again, Archidyme has all kinds of custom tool palettes and styles, so we'll go to the new walls. And what I would like to do on the one to the left here, I'll go ahead and do a vertical, any kind of siding material that has vertical hatch pattern on it. So this one here is a standing seam metal finish material. So I'll go ahead and bring that in, and I will trace around the outside edge of the slab in a clockwise direction. Okay, and OR. And then I would like to demonstrate or contrast with a horizontal one. So we have one here with a drop siding, kind of like a hardy board. And I'll go ahead and I'll draw that in the same manner. All right. And I'll go ahead and save. And now in a real project, I would be dragging information into a view on the project navigator and create a set of elevations as a view drawing file. But just for ease of communicating these ideas, I'll go ahead and create the elevation views in this file. So I'll go ahead and go to our GT annotation tool palette, where we have customized versions of the callouts that you're probably familiar with. So I'll use the elevation one, and I'll just drop that symbol in here. Current drawing. Go ahead and make a window around these two things, and pop the elevation in over here. Okay, so we see vertical hatch pattern and a horizontal hatch pattern. But you're seeing a portion of the floor in each of these that you would not see in a real elevation. The floor would be hidden by the wall material coming down past the floor system and connecting to the foundation system. So let's address that. So I'll scroll out a little bit here and save. Now I'll go back to the slabs. So I have that file open. And what we need is, well, if I go ahead and I just unload the foundation and I go into 3D and I go ahead and do a conceptual, you'll see what's going on with these slabs is just the components of the slab. So we have a floor finish material, plywood, an insulation component, and then the framing itself is this major portion here. But there's no exterior edge on it. So that's what we need. We need something to match the siding material of the wall. So we created a tool under our slabs tool palette. Oops, that's not it. Slabs here. You scroll down, you'll see we have an import button here. And this will just import a whole bunch of different predefined slab edge styles. And I'll discuss how you make those in a minute. So I'll go ahead now and select this slab. I'll go to my properties palette and go to edges. And I'm going to go ahead and select all of these and come in here, and I'll pick the standing seam one for this one. All right, and then so you can see now it created this this perimeter edge material or a component. And for this one here, I'll do the same and highlight all of these guys. And what I want is the drop siding one. Okay. All right. Now, if I go to realistic here, you can see the difference. Let's see, realistic, right? So you can see here's the horizontal siding material, which is kind of like a hardy board, and here's the standing seam material. All right, so I'll go back to conceptual and save this, and then I'll go back over to the file where I did the 2D projected sections and elevations, and it'll reload those slabs now. And if I go ahead and click on the elevation and say refresh, we should see that it brings in that perimeter edge with the hatch patterns looking pretty good. You'll see in a second here how there might be some things you won't like. So the first thing that my eye catches is this strong horizontal line on both of them that on a set of construction documents could be interpreted as a different edge, some kind of hard edge that you probably don't want. So this is what you can do for a situation like that. Basically what you have, I can show you here in 3D. Okay, and if I go ahead and I shade this, what you have is the slab with a perimeter edge on it that matches up perfectly with the wall edge. The problem is that the 2D projected section by default, or with I'll show you, the material actually doesn't know that you want this stuff to read as one. That would be the ideal. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and jump back here, and I'll go to the 2D wireframe. So what we need to do is work on the material. So I'm going to type in material. And we'll find the standing seam one first. So in here we go. Now for 2D projected sections and elevations, by default in this program, AutoCAD Architecture, it's always the general medium that gets used. There are ways to make it use something else, like general high, but the callout symbols will reference this as the display that it reads to create those 2D sections and elevations. So we'll just worry about this. We'll double click on that. And if you go, let's see, normally it starts here, so we'll go to the other tab. And if you go down here to the lower left corner, you'll see this checkbox that says Merge Common Materials. It's incredible how useful this feature is, and it's often off on materials. In fact, we chose to set it off as well because we were concerned about it creating more problems than solutions. So that's why I'm now showing you how to go and check it. There are times when it just doesn't work right, and turning it back off is an option or a choice. Anyway, it should work here because it's very simple stuff. So we'll go ahead and turn that on, hit OK, apply, OK, and then see if it works. So we'll go ahead and do a refresh here, and out it goes. You don't even see a tiny gap or anything. It's perfect. And the same thing would happen over here. So material, define. We'll go to the drop siding right here. We'll go to general medium, and we'll go down to merge materials, OK, and apply, and OK. And we'll do a refresh. Okay, so this is where it starts to do some undesirable things. So what unfortunately is occurring is right where that horizontal line should show as a hatch pattern is the seam between the slab and the wall. So you don't get anything there. I used to just draw something in there. I would figure out right where I wanted it, and I would just draw something across, and that's still valid. There is another little thing you can do if you go back to material, D for define, and you go to drop siding, general medium, and you go to your hatch. You'll notice here what's being used is the surface hatch pattern. And it's set to global, and I'll talk about why global is the better choice. There's two choices, object or global. So what I found here is if you bump this up something like, I think you can get away with like 1/2 inch. It varies for the material and the conditions, but I think in this case all you need is 1/2 inch, maybe an inch. We'll take a look. So I just bumped it up on the Y, and I'll do a refresh. Yep. So this is the first one is a little bit off, but that might be a trick you'll want to know. Just changing the Y value just a slight amount so that it throws that in. Now let's take a look at that thing I mentioned, the global versus the object on the material. So let's go back to material, and let's do it with the standing seam. Let's go back here. Okay, and let's check. So we've got merge on and so forth. We go to the hatching, and what we used for surface hatch is we use the roofing hatch pattern that comes with AutoCAD Architecture. We just assigned it as a surface material, and you notice it's set to global. Now notice what happens if I set it to object. So I'll go OK, apply, and OK. And I'll do a refresh. This is the kind of thing you might see occur. So unfortunately, when it is set to by the object, the material, the hatch pattern is reading off of a certain edge component that's say somewhere out here, and it's just repeating the pattern. So it's like you're setting the origin of the hatch pattern to here, but the way that the hatch pattern begins on a slab versus how it begins on a wall is not the same, especially if we've added, if you recall, I added something like this much of a, this is the edge, the slab edge that I added in under the slab. So that's there, and then it starts the hatch pattern actually from there over. Now, doing it by object, if I go ahead and do a front view, let's see here, doing it by object can have its advantages because you can better control where you want that first material to start. But trust me, using global is the way to keep your sanity when you're doing these hatch patterns on your 2D projected sections. So go back to plan, all right, and go back to material. And I'll go back to that standing seam and just put it back to global. Now global is literally global. It's reading from 0, 0, 0 on all objects. Okay, and then I'll just do a refresh, and it'll go back and clean up. Now let's go. I'm setting the material in the final file, but what you really should be doing is making those settings in all of your files so that you don't lose those settings, because these other files don't know that that's the setting you want. So in this file, material. The standing seam and the horizontal wood doesn't have this setting. So if I go in here, you'll see that setting has not been done. So in a project environment, you should be making this type of material change in one file and then dragging the material to all other files that use the same material for consistency. Let's see, which one is this? Where's horizontal? Board and batten, cedar. Okay, material. Where's the horizontal one? There it is. And here we go. All right. Now, this slab perimeter edge, let's take a look at how to make that. So before I show you that, let's go back over here and drag in the foundation to the elevation file and then do a refresh. Okay, so now we can see the concrete foundation. And in our foundation, I'll show you here the foundation. Our foundations have been designed. Well, we have a variety of foundation systems that we offer. This one here is one of the simpler ones where we just have a plate sitting on top of the stem wall. So that's what you're seeing back in this file, is you're seeing that plate, which typically would be a pressure-treated sill sitting right on top of the concrete. What you want here is for the this is the exterior wall finish material. You would actually want that to come down a little bit past here with some kind of a flashing, right? That would be the true architectural detail. The flashing is a little more tricky, but let's at least make this part correct so in an elevation it would look acceptable. So now we can take a look at that slab edge. So if I go ahead and take a look at the front view, so I'll go to front view, and I'll go and set this back to wireframe. This is the perimeter slab edge that I imported earlier. Okay. Now if I bring, or if I reload, here's the foundation. What I would really like to have is I would like to have, I'm going to go ahead and lock my Z here. Where's my Z? There we go. That's already locked. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw this down. And I would like for it to go probably maybe a ½ pass. I'll just draw that out here, and then that's a little too much. I'll bring that up 0.25. Okay, and then I'll just copy this line. I'm just giving myself some markers here, 0.25, something like that. Okay, so what I'm thinking is what I would like for this to do is to come down like this, come over 0.5, maybe come down like this, and then all the way over here, and come up like this. All right, and I'll move that over like that. So I'm thinking something like that. Now, you can't have multiple components on these slab edges. It's just one shape. And what we did here is we created, if I bring in the walls, we created a slab that accounts for both the plywood and the finished material. So we just made it double thick, and basically it's 1 inch. So we did a ½ inch and a ½ inch just to make all of this stuff work. Real materials will probably vary slightly here, by 1/8 or so, but to keep it all working and fast, we did ½ inch and ½ inch. So this is a ½ inch here, essentially representing sheathing and then the finished material. But if this is the new edge, which I've now drawn to come down right past the sill, I'll want to mirror that. So go ahead and mirror that. Okay, because it reads in the it reads in the AutoCAD orientation, so counterclockwise around the slab edge. And it won't matter. If you make a mistake, you'll see it right away. So if this is the new edge that I want, I'll go ahead and do a profile, D for definition, and I'll give it a new name here. I'll just go ahead and say tall floor. This is a terrible name. Edge. If I had paid attention to the dimensions, I would like to put the dimensions in it. You can see the ones we've made have dimensions on them. But now I'll go ahead and set from. Okay, and then you'll want to do the left corner, the upper left corner. So I'll snap to that upper left corner and hit apply and OK. And now I'll go ahead and I'll pick the slab. Oops, got to do one more thing. We have to do a slab edge style. And these are all the ones that were imported. Let's just copy one down. Here we'll just do the standing seam. Copy that one down. I use the control to do the copy, rename this. It said will be standing seam, 1 but tall. Right, and I'll double click on that. And I'll just go to design rules. So here's the default one that was imported. I will change that one now to the one that we just created called tall right here. Okay. And even though this sounds really good, auto adjust, I advise you don't use that. If it auto adjusted in terms of height, that would be great, but it actually scales. So when it adjusts the height, saying if your slab changes in thickness, this will scale in the X and the Y, so it also grows thicker as it grows taller. So unfortunately, they didn't create a way to only make it taller, even though it says height. So you'll have to design them, drawing them out for each of your slab thicknesses. The material will stay the same. All this stuff will stay the same, and then we'll just hit apply and OK. And now I can go ahead and select my slab and go down here to edges. I can grab all of these guys, and I can now pick the new one that we created, hit OK, and you should see that it's sitting in there correctly. So again, this is the outer material, and here's the plywood just coming past the sill. And notice it lines up here perfectly. That's key to getting good results. So if I do the save, and I come back to where we did the elevations. Did I do a save here? Let's make sure I did a save. Okay, and then I'll reload. And then I'll go ahead and do a refresh. Okay, it caught. If anything like that ever happens, this is why I left this line work out there. Let's go ahead and not have that there. All right, and refresh. Okay, so now you can see the exterior material coming down, nice and clean, not looking like this at all. So it's pretty nice, and I think that pretty much covers it. I could now create a copy of that slab edge and give it a different name. I might as well just do it here. It's pretty quick. Go to this file, Slab Edge Style. Oops. So this is the drop. I'll copy the drop down. I'll rename this to drop. Oops. Tall. Double click. Go in here and just assign this to the tall. Okay. Apply. Okay. All right, and go to the slab and edges. And let's see there. And okay, so that does the same thing. We save that. We'll jump back, reload, and refresh. Okay, so now, yeah, this is what happens. We're starting to lose the proper alignment of those horizontal lines. I said you're going to probably find some issues here. You can go back now. So remember, materials really should be done in the in both files, but I'll just do it here, and we'll go to the drop. So the cause of that is on the hatch, and I pushed it up a ½ inch. And if I go to 0, it's going to create that gap. I don't really know how to win here. This is always a tricky one. We could try something like, what is the hatch set at? The hatch is set at 6. We could try 5.5 maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't tested this before I made this exercise. Yeah, so we're encountering that gap. I didn't win at all. Yeah. And this is just something that you'll have to fight with. So 5.5 wasn't any good. Maybe 0.125. And the issue, again, is that you get the gap at the seam. That's really where the problem occurs. So that got better, but I don't like this line down here. Maybe I'll keep tinkering with that and pushing it down until you wouldn't see it in your prints. If it doesn't bother you, great. For some, that's unacceptable. For others, it's okay. I think that pretty much covers how to work with the merge material checkbox to improve your line work.